So, it's been a week since Digital Extremes released the reveal for the new game Soulframe, and we all have an idea as to what this game may or may not be about, but the original trailer and then the hidden poem on the Soulframe website, as well as the translation of the images on that website, have given us a much closer idea as to what the world of Soulframe is going to be about. So make sure and share your thoughts in the comment section below. Now let's go over some of the finer points of Soulframe's reveal that you may or may not have picked up on. But before I do that, I would like you to hear the hidden poem from that Soulframe website, because it will help you to better understand what we're about to talk about.
When day wrought night, they did arrive. Not sea nor hoof, but from the sky. Night maiden strong rode to face them, yet not a sword was drawn. For within that night's songs were cast, and we who heard them lost our past. Our virtues, love, and spirits fled, so hollow was the dawn. Now mothers send their children there, to Odin's castle's crowning heir, returning spies to peel our thoughts, with souls so twisted wrong. New industry demands the earth, our verdant fields bled gray of worth. The beasts of feasts now lost to famine, gray Alka's flesh stripped raw. While hope in us has come to rest, strange kin remain in the Alka's trust. Cross distant shores, old souls arise, relic wolf and bear and fawn. Those we plundered now we speak, for ancient ties that withered weak, to cast a bargain entwining fate, and forging honored bonds to the world.
So first of all, Soulframe is not a Souls-like game. It's not like Sekiro, like Dark Souls, like Elden Ring. You can delete that thought process immediately. Think more along the lines of Warframe, maybe mixed with a bit of Skyrim, only it's got animals in it and you're going to use those as your abilities. It's going to have slower melee combat with procedurally generated caves or dungeons in a massive open world. That's according to the dev responses anyway on Twitter. According to Steve Sinclair, the term soul in Soulframe is used to describe one of the fundamental mechanics in the upcoming MMO, which sounds like using the souls or power of animals as a way to harness your abilities. There is one line in the game's trailer that reads, "So listen up, envoys of shame, and bear their souls within your frame." The envoy being us, the frame being our body, and the souls being a certain set of animals in the game that you're going to be able to harness. In the hidden poem, they also talk about the relic wolf, which we've seen in the trailer called Orangal. There is also a bear apparently and a fawn. Now the fawn could be the massive moose, we don't know. We've also seen a little bird that we harnessed in the trailer to cast a spell as well. So that's 4 animals that we know about. 4 animals that might have their own sets of abilities or maybe just one ability each, depending on what way you look at it, which could allow us to have different builds or maybe just allow us to use multiple animal abilities at any given time, which is also very, very interesting. Now, there is also, like I said, a giant moose called the Ode or the Odd, which revives us. However, it is worth noting that in German terms, Ode or Odd, the Odic force, is a reference towards the principle of metaphysical nature, the very fabric of the universe, and it is present in all things. So the moose itself could just be the physical appearance of nature itself. It's also something that's referenced in the manga Berserk, so maybe it could be just a little nudge towards that, or maybe not. So from the sounds of the trailer, and of course the poem as well, they reference Alka. This might be the name of either the continent we're going to be playing the game on, or the people that have inhabited it. These people are now conquered by an advanced race with some kind of supernatural-like powers. They apparently used songs to defeat the Night Maidens without those Night Maidens ever lifting a sword. As a result, these invaders have now pillaged nature of all of its resources, which has led to famine. There is a line in the poem that says, "New industry demands earth." Nature isn't happy with this and has now made a bond with us. For those who plundered, now we seek to take it all back, roughly. Steve did say that the game has heavily leaned upon the theme of nature versus industry, so that definitely fits. Now, the main character, according to the website, the translation on the website image anyway, refers to us as the banished, or maybe it's going to be the envoy, one or the other, which means we might originally have been one of these invaders, or at the very least been one of the children later sent up to the castle by their mothers to be converted. The Inquisitor in the trailer also says, "We are family," which might suggest maybe some kind of betrayal on our behalf before she ultimately bonks us across the noggin with that huge weapon and I think kills us. So because we originally helped strip this land bare of resources, we are called the Envoy of Shame. And in the background of that banished image, we also see a huge floating structure, which is probably one of the floating castles referred to in that poem as well. Now in the trailer, this imprisoned, banished or envoy, whichever we're going to be called, has one arm encased in an armoured sleeve. Now I don't think this is a fashion statement. All they had on was the armoured sleeve and their arse hanging out. So this looks like a device used by the invaders to maybe lock away his powers, to sever his link with nature, because later on, after that armoured sleeve is removed, we now see this blue arm covered in symbols, which allows him to control the soul of that little bird and harness nature's power, turn those enemies to stone or petrify them anyway. So the arm definitely plays a huge part in where we get our powers from. Now, this image with those three soldiers is titled the Sinecure. Now, the definition of Sinecure is to hold an office that requires little to no responsibility, which brings us to the line in the poem, "Now mothers send their children there to Odin's castle crowning air, returning spies to peel our thoughts with souls so twisted wrong." So these children are converted or twisted into spies by this invading force. Maybe the Inquisitors are the powerful, successful conversions, and the twisted ones, the ones we're seeing in this image, those three guys with the big massive metal heads, could be the Sinecure. That's just a guess though, we don't know until we get to see some actual gameplay. But it would point towards some kind of hierarchy of those enemy types. Now, something else worth noting from the trailer is that when the envoy or banished casts his sword into the ground, or when he clicks his fingers and casts that little bird soul into the enemy, there is this little stone kind of bird-like idol near him on the ground which flashes bright with light. Now, birds can signify spirit messengers or freedom, so it could just be a way of showing that you've cleared that area or you're ready to free that wolf, or it could just be a checkpoint or a fast travel area. Now, Soulframe is going to be an open world high fantasy game set in a world that has been ravished by an invading advanced race. We have allied with nature and are fighting back by harnessing the power of animals in our body. So it is the opposite of what Warframe is, but at the same time I can't help but see similarities. Combat will be slower paced and it will be melee based with spells as well. You're not going to be running around in futuristic suits, really powerful suits with guns and loads of explosions, but those spells could work in a similar way to what Warframe does with abilities for your Tenno, instead of actually using that Warframe. We won't know again until we see actual gameplay. We know dungeons and cave systems will be procedurally generated, and like Steve said, they want the world to continue on after you log out. So the game will be rolled out apparently in a similar way to maybe what Warframe was originally way back all those years ago, where it could be pretty small to begin with, and as they add update after update, the game is going to get bigger and bigger, maybe with more biomes, more parts of the map added, things like that. Overall, it will be nice to have another Warframe-esque game to play, but at a much slower pace. Hopefully a lot of lessons from Warframe will be learned by the developers along the way, and this could be a more flushed out game, but only time will tell. Like I said, we need to see actual gameplay and get to experience it ourselves. It is going to be probably another year or so away from us getting any of that. But like I said, let me know in the comment section below what you think of everything we've discussed today. Have a great weekend, and as always, thanks for watching.